Okay. I got asked another question. The question is how do you have a conversation with your partner? The main thing I can tell anybody that do engage in actually being able to have a genuine conversation where you want to know each other's points of view so y'all can be able to have a better connection. So the main thing I would say is one, and I think this has happened in a lot of relationship and it comes from both sides, is that no one wants to listen. And I think that's the biggest problem, that nobody wants to listen. So I will tell you the first thing off rip is that if you're going to have a conversation, whether it's about something that's petty, whether it's something serious, or whether it's something that is deep, being able to listen before speaking. The thing that is very bad in people is that they want to interrupt each other and no conversation is actually happening. So all I can say is if you're going to have an actual conversation and you want to be able to understand each other a lot better, being able to understand each other's point, understanding where your partner is coming from, is having to do something that is hard for people, which is shut up. Shut up and listen. I'm sorry. A lot of people don't like the point of they don't like the fact of hearing the word shut up. But yes, you need to shut up. The best way I can say it, if you're going to engage in a conversation and say you'll forget some of the points, I don't care if you need a piece of paper to write down the things that you didn't like and what they was talking about, and you want to address those, write it down. But the main thing is being able to get each other's points out and being able to have the conversation. But secondly, the second thing that is really horrible is when you throw out a point, do not try to hop on another point because that makes the whole entire conversation disingenuous because you'll say about 10 different points in something and then it'll probably go up to like 25 and then it's like now we got to try to figure out what the first point that you made so we can be able to address that second, third, and fourth and so forth. So the best thing I can say is that once you got one thing that you want to talk about, let's talk about that one part, address that, and be able to work that part out. And then you can tell me the next point. And then we can address that, work that out, and then go to the next one. However many points that you may have, you got to be able to start with a base level of communication, which is okay, you say this is the problem. Don't tell me another thing that's the problem. Let's talk about this one problem first. Settle it so it can bring solace to you and that we can have a clear understanding that we got a clear understanding of what we need to change on whatever this point is. And then now we can talk about the next points that you have. That's why I tell people all the time when it comes to communication, you have to be able to break them down, please. If you can't, if you're gonna have a conversation, it gotta be a genuine conversation, or else if you're just saying a whole bunch of points, it becomes disingenuous because nobody can rebuttal to what you're talking about. That's why it's good to break them down one by one. Third thing that I would say is that the main thing is that when you're having these conversations, is that you have to take your feelings out of it. I'm sorry. I know people hate hearing that, but take your feelings out of it. The reason why you want to take your feelings out of it is because you want to be able to engage in an intellectual conversation. Now, if you want to have an intelligent and smart conversation, because they're more prone to fall into their feelings about it, having deep conversations, having better understanding, being able to communicate. Intellectual conversation is all about taking your feelings out of the situation so you can have a genuine conversation. It's the only way you're going to be able to address whatever the problems are or whatever the situations are in your relationships. That is key to making it work. If you do not do this, it's going to turn into where one person yelling and then both of you are yelling, then one of you going to be trying to fight and the other one's going to be trying to fight, and then it just escalates into a whole bunch of bull. So the best thing I can tell you is if you're going to have a conversation, if you want to be able to be a better communicator with your partner, the main thing is one, take your feelings out, address the issues one by one so that y'all can be able to find the balance and find the foundation of the, you know what I'm saying, of level ground, so that y'all can be able to address it without allowing emotions to arise. And I understand sometimes some of the deeper ones can, you know what I'm saying, it can be emotion based. Like, say, if y'all trying to discuss about your girl or your man cheating on you or whatever, being able to have that conversation is going to be hard because, like I said, emotions arise. If that is the case, I would say get to yourself for a second, calm yourself down, and then come back and then address the situation. If you're trying to make that relationship work, if not, you know what I'm saying, elf them, you know what I mean? But if you're trying to genuinely make your relationship work and you're emotional, you're really upset, take a moment, take a breather, do whatever you gotta do, you know what I'm saying, to calm yourself down, because you never want to have a conversation off of high emotions. If you do, it is dangerous. It will cause massive problems where either you can probably hurt somebody or someone can possibly hurt you, or you can probably, you know what I'm saying, off somebody or somebody probably off you. So emotion, you got to keep out of like deep conversations that come to like those things, because it can really get out of hand really bad and really fast. So I would just say main thing is just being able to break down your conversation. And that's just my personal opinion, because it's the best way to do things and keep things from escalating to a point where people are going to jail. You know what I'm saying? People probably end up on t-shirts, if you know what I mean. Or, you know what I'm saying, people, family members getting involved, and it turns into a whole bunch of chaos. So, like I said, I chase peace on that. But I'm just telling you, off real, just make sure you communicate properly and be able to break down each problem and then conversate about those problems. And then after you have addressed them and y'all both have got an understanding and a base of it, then go to the next problem. Otherwise, you're going to continually fall into the situation where you're going to be constantly fighting, constantly arguing, constantly bashing each other, yelling and screaming at each other. Like, the main thing is being able to have the solace of being able to have a conversation by taking your emotions out of it. I know a lot of people, emotions run high up in those deep conversations, but you can't do that, or else you're never going to be able to address the problem or the situations that you're dealing with. So I'm just telling you, like it never works. It always ends badly. It always causes a whole bunch of mess where people end up having these, like, say for instance, that a man and woman end up getting into a big giant argument, big giant fight, and every time they try to come and talk about the situation, it gets heated back up. So now he's resentful, she's resentful. You know what I'm saying? There's no communication. Then it starts to escalate into something far more worse, where they're disrespecting each other and everything like that. You don't want to get to a point where you're doing that, because my thing is, the moment you start degrading or disrespecting your partner is the moment that your relationship is on the road to failure. Don't fall into that category. You never want to be there, because it sucks for anybody that's in it. Like, you want to be able to be in a position where you can love, respect, and do your best to honor your partner. You know what I'm saying? You want to make your partner look good, because they are a representation of you. How you treat your man, how you treat your woman, it's all is a reflection on you. Like, people know when you got a good man or got a good woman, because they're gonna tell your man or your woman that you're that person. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna tell you that. So just understand, like, work on the basic level of being able to have these conversations and break down each problem one by one, so you both can grasp what's being said and addressing it, and then move on to the next problem. Otherwise, you're going to constantly find yourself in nothing but absolute chaos. And I prefer, personally, I want to see y'all succeed. I want to see whatever relationships y'all are in are thriving and moving like it needs to be. So hopefully I was able to answer your question. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully I gave you at least a little bit of insight to hopefully better your relationship. So peace. You feel me?